Did you know that nearly 40% of Americans don't have enough money to cover a $400 emergency? Or that 1 in 3 adults has less than $5,000 saved for retirement? Shocking, right? These numbers show just how many of us struggle with money, even though we're constantly told how important it is to be financially free. But here's the truth. Achieving financial freedom doesn't require a big salary or some secret formula. It's about mastering a few key strategies that can transform the way you manage money. In this video, I'll share 6 crucial personal finance lessons that changed my life and can change yours too. I'll show you how to shift your mindset, learn the power of patience, and make smart choices that lead to long-term wealth. These aren't the typical save more, spend less tips you've heard 1,000 times. Instead, I'll introduce you to strategies that most people don't even think about, but can make all the difference. Stay tuned for some surprising lessons, tips that really work, and strategies that will set you on the path to financial freedom. It's time to take control of your finances and start living the life you've always wanted. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Mindset Shift. How I went from scarcity to abundance thinking. The first step in transforming my finances wasn't about numbers or budgeting. It was about my mindset. I realized that the way I thought about money was the biggest barrier to wealth. For years, I lived with a scarcity mindset, constantly worrying that I didn't have enough. But once I understood the power of an abundance mindset, everything changed. An abundance mindset is the belief that there are endless opportunities to grow wealth, learn, and achieve. It's the opposite of the "there's never enough" mentality that keeps you stuck. According to research from Stanford University, people who embrace an abundance mindset are more likely to succeed because they're open to learning and collaboration. I found that by focusing on growth and potential, I stopped making decisions out of fear. One key moment for me was when I started viewing money as a tool, not a finite resource. Instead of hoarding it out of fear, I learned how to use it for opportunities. This shift allowed me to invest, take calculated risks, and attract more wealth. As T. Harv Eker writes in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, your income can only grow to the extent that you do. Having this mindset helped me make better financial decisions. For example, I stopped focusing on how little I had and started thinking about what I could create with my skills and resources. Over time, my wealth started to grow, not because of anything specific I did differently with money, but because I was open to abundance. Chapter 2. The Hidden Power of Delayed Gratification. Why now isn't always best. One of the most difficult lessons I learned in my journey was the power of delayed gratification. At first, it felt unnatural to say no to things I wanted right now. But then, I realized the difference it could make in the long run. Delaying gratification is about making sacrifices today for a better tomorrow. A study from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who can delay gratification tend to have better financial outcomes in life. By practicing restraint and patience, you can build the wealth you need for your future without unnecessary distractions today. Think of it like planting a tree today and waiting for it to bear fruit tomorrow. This doesn't mean depriving yourself of everything you enjoy. It's about making smarter choices. For instance, instead of buying an expensive phone every year, I chose to invest in a high-quality one that lasted longer. The money I saved was funneled into more important areas, like retirement and investing. The magic of delayed gratification really showed up when I started investing. Initially, it felt tough to put money into stocks and bonds that I couldn't touch for decades. But with time, I saw my investments grow through compound interest, which works best when you give it time to build momentum. I often remind myself of a quote from Warren Buffett. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. In my case, the impatient were those who splurged on short-term pleasures, and the patient were those who made strategic long-term decisions. Chapter 3. Money is Energy. How to let go of the fear of spending. Another key shift in my financial journey was realizing that money is energy. It flows in and out of your life, and it's not something to fear or hoard. I spent years thinking of money as something I had to control tightly, but I soon learned that by letting go of that fear, I could make better financial decisions. The key here is to focus on intentional spending rather than mindless spending. Instead of buying things just to satisfy temporary desires, I started asking myself, does this align with my values and long-term goals? This simple shift led me to become much more mindful of how I spent my money. In his book, The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel talks about how our relationship with money is shaped by our emotions. If you feel fear every time you spend, you may miss opportunities for growth. But if you treat money as a tool, you'll be able to use it wisely to bring more opportunities into your life. I also realized that spending can be a positive force if done thoughtfully. For example, I made investments in courses and mentorship programs that helped me grow my business. The return on investment wasn't immediate, but over time it paid off in ways I never expected. Another powerful lesson I learned was to align my spending with my true values. By doing so, I found that I wasn't spending money on things that didn't bring me happiness or fulfillment. Instead, I focused on purchases that contributed to my long-term goals, such as investing in experiences, education, or assets that would appreciate in value. If you're finding this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. You'll get more tips on how to transform your financial life and unlock true freedom. Chapter 4. Investing in yourself. Why it's the best and only asset that pays back. One of the most powerful personal finance lessons I learned was that the best investment you can make is in yourself. While it's easy to get caught up in stocks, real estate, and other forms of wealth building, the real game changer is self-investment. The idea of investing in yourself doesn't just mean taking courses or reading books, though that's part of it. It's also about improving your health, networking, and building skills that will pay dividends for years to come. Research shows that people who continue learning and growing throughout their lives are more likely to accumulate wealth. A study from the American Society for Training and Development found that employees who invest in personal development are 59% more likely to earn promotions and 42% more likely to have higher job satisfaction. I remember when I first realized the power of this. I spent time learning new skills that weren't directly tied to my job at the time, but I knew they would open new doors. That's when I picked up digital marketing, something I had no formal training in. I took online courses, joined webinars, and applied the knowledge to my side projects. Before long, the skills I gained led to new business opportunities and, eventually, a more lucrative career. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki writes, "The most important asset you have is your mind." That quote stuck with me because it reminded me that no matter the economic climate or market fluctuations, my skills and knowledge are something that no one can take away from me. Investing in yourself increases your earning potential, confidence, and resilience in times of uncertainty. Beyond skills, investing in your health is another key piece of the puzzle. The more energy and vitality you have, the more productive you can be. A study published in The Lancet showed that people who regularly exercise have lower healthcare costs, higher incomes, and are more productive in the workplace. So don't overlook your physical and mental health. It's a long-term investment that can create huge returns. Chapter 5. The Anti-Budget Strategy. How Freedom Beats Restriction. When I first started trying to manage my finances, I followed traditional budgeting methods. I tracked every expense, set strict limits on my spending, and tried to save a percentage of my income each month. But I soon realized that traditional budgeting felt more like a restriction than a strategy. This is when I discovered the concept of value-based spending instead of sticking to a rigid budget. The idea behind this approach is simple. Spend your money on things that truly align with your values and long-term goals, and cut out everything that doesn't contribute to those. This strategy isn't about depriving yourself or living in constant frugality. It's about spending on what truly adds value to your life. For example, I chose to invest in experiences like travel and education, while cutting back on unnecessary expenses like impulse buys or expensive meals out. By focusing on what mattered most, I found I was able to save more money without feeling deprived. In his book, You Are a Badass at Making Money, Jen Sincero writes, "When you spend on what you love, you give money its true power." This idea really resonated with me because it helped me view money as something that supports my goals rather than something that limits my choices. Chapter 6. Leveraging Time. The Unseen Power of Compound Interest in Life and Money. If there's one lesson that had the most profound impact on my financial journey, it's the power of time. Specifically, the magic of compound interest, not just in financial terms, but in how we grow and develop over time. Most people are familiar with compound interest in the context of savings accounts or investments. It's the idea that the money you invest today will grow over time, earning interest on top of interest. But here's the kicker. Compound interest is just as powerful in your personal growth. I first saw this when I began investing consistently in small, everyday actions that would lead to long-term rewards. For example, I set aside a small portion of my income every month for retirement. At first, the amount felt insignificant. But as months and years passed, I saw the compound growth of those contributions, both in my retirement account and my wealth-building mindset. Albert Einstein famously called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, and for good reason. According to a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, the earlier you start investing, the more your money will grow exponentially over time. A $1,000 investment that grows at an average annual return of 7% could turn into $10,000 after 40 years. But compound interest isn't just about money. It's also about building habits and knowledge. Over time, small, consistent efforts can lead to major results. Whether it's reading a few pages of a book each day, learning a new skill every week, or saving a little more every month, the compounding effect on your life can be just as powerful. If you found this video valuable, make sure to subscribe for more strategies that will help you achieve financial freedom. You don't want to miss out on future lessons that can change your life.